Madison Beer she's how would you describe her? Hot woman on the internet. She's a musician.
Yeah, she's a hot woman on the internet, but I would say she's like legitimately talented as a singer. She's got real talent. She's not just like skating by on being attractive. I'll give her credit where credit is due for sure. But now she is getting swatted on a routine basis. Who here has heard of that?
I have no idea. When has that ever happened before?
That sounds crazy to experience, and I would never want to experience that. It sounds like she has gotten more than 15 calls on her house to the LAPD since the beginning of this year. Someone from Germany claiming that she is contemplating suicide and self-harm, which they are then obligated to go and do a physical check on.
Yeah, they have to.
And it's a male caller, probably a stalker, who's like weirdly obsessed with her or maybe wants to kill her. I feel like swatting is oftentimes like equivalent to an attempted murder, honestly, because
it absolutely is. That's the intention.
I mean, especially if you're calling it in not even on like a suicide threat, but something worse than that, then you're literally endangering the person's life because the cops have to deal with them as if they are a threat.
Yeah, whether you intended on it or not, same thing's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So far, Madison Beer hasn't actually spoken on this, which is interesting. She's probably been advised not to.
But this is a natural problem for the people famous in the internet age now. Like you just have to deal.
Remember
with
Aiden Ross doing
absolutely.
the stream where he's like supposedly getting swatted? I feel like that was faked because he publicizing it and streaming yourself literally like with your hands up in your living room is going to encourage more of your haters or whoever, like stalkers, just to do more swatting calls.
Yeah.
Because they want to see your reaction or your fear and like make it into a meme.
And do you think the distance, like just the distance that the internet creates between people kind of desensitizes them from just how dangerous this type of behavior actually is?
Yes.
It's kind of the same notion as like you don't realize that you're playing with somebody else's life until until something like this actually happens to you in person.
Yeah, well, so like I've gone back and forth with people on Twitter, and like they were getting like mad at me, and then they reached out in a DM, and I found out they were like 16, and I was just like, I had no idea, and I kind of felt bad. Could be
literally like anyone, like a kid that you're going back and forth with on Twitter or whatever. Yeah.
So
that sucks. One person in chat asked, do you mean the guy that kept yelling bro? Yes, that is Aiden Ross. That's the guy who kept yelling bro during his stream where he was like supposedly getting swatted. I don't know if that was real or fake, but the way he was acting suggested that it was staged for more people to tune in and donate, basically out of pity or whatever. Which is kind of messed up because he's almost encouraging people to do it for real then. Right. And then actually he's risking his life for clout, which is kind of pathetic. But the Madison Beer thing, I have one theory on how it could be fake actually.
Okay.
She announced that she is publishing a memoir on February 15th. And it's going to be all about like her journey as like a child star, having like grown up in the spotlight. I think she was actually scouted originally by Justin Bieber, which is funny that there's like this train of scouting, like Scooter Braun scouts Justin Bieber, who scouts Madison Beer, who then scouts somebody else. But anyway, it's going to be called The Half of It. It's coming out in the spring, and she's doing press about it right now. And I'm sure she's working on music as well. And it just seems awfully convenient timing that something like this would happen, where people are going to be talking about your names in the headlines.
All these things always seem to happen right around the time something is about to come out.
Yeah, and maybe I sound cynical for saying that. And if this is honestly what's happening to her, I feel bad, and I hope that she's safe. But I can't help but be skeptical anytime something involving an influencer happens now, because like people will do anything for clout now. They will like degrade themselves, risk their life, risk their family members' lives, sacrifice their dignity for attention.
And all the world is a stage, and it's naive not to think that they're not going to use every tool available, and no matter how manipulative that may be, and that includes, you know, blurring the lines between what is real and what is fake.
I mean, who knows? Maybe she's like adding an abridged like addition to her memoir that's like, here's an update on my life being in the spotlight. I've been swatted this many times since the beginning of 2023, and here are my reflections on that. Like, there are so many ways to capitalize off of it, even if it is real.
It's not cynical, I don't think, to at least ask questions.
Sure.
Like, to approach it with an open mind.
Yeah, like, I feel like other influencers have lied about worse things. I just saw this story, actually, where this TikTok dad made this video that was supposed to have like a wholesome energy to it, but it massively failed and like didn't land. He like tricked a theme park into thinking that his son met the minimum height requirement for roller coasters. And his son is like really young and really small, and that's extremely dangerous and life-threatening. And he like made this video about it. Like he was doing his son some kind of favor for his birthday or whatever. And the kid is like definitely not safe, and he could fly out of a roller coaster at his size and die instantly. But he did it for TikTok clout. When things like, and then now in like the 10 days since he posted that video, he's like gone through this dad has gone through every stage of like grief. He has first, he like denied that it ever happened. He was like, I was just making that video for attention. We never actually put him on a roller coaster, guys. LOL. How can you be so stupid and gullible to believe that? Then he admits that they did it, but says that no. Then he like says, he like blamed it on somebody else. Then he said like that he was genuinely sorry, and he made like a tearful apology to Sad Music on TikTok. Then he retracts his apology and then says that they did put him on a roller coaster, but also there's nothing wrong with that, and you're sticking your nose in his business where it doesn't belong, which in itself doesn't make sense because he was the one that publicized this in the
Grown
first
man with
place.
a TikTok.
That reminds me too of I'm just going off right now, sorry, but like reminds me of like that YouTuber Daddy05. Do you remember that guy?
Yeah.
Psycho. Like, I don't know. I feel like you just shouldn't post your kids on YouTube and TikTok like that. Like, it's crazy. This guy, I think this was in like 2019 or something. He started getting a lot of traction and like negative and positive attention because he had this family channel, and family channels have like largely become like very frowned upon, but like the Ace family and stuff.
Yeah.
But like he had this family channel where they would very clearly treat one of their children really badly who had like autism or something. And like there was an incident where like, this is a really sad thing that happened, but like this kid he really wanted to go on this family vacation, and they told him that he couldn't go with them to like Disney or whatever because he had been behaving badly and like behaving out of line. And what they meant by that is that he had like gotten into this like episode where he like smeared his own feces on the walls of their bathroom, which is something that kids with autism often do. Like if it's a severe case, if they're emotionally neglected.
He was autistic.
It's like literally a sign of abuse and neglect when they do that. And they said, you can't go on family vacation with us because you did that. And then when they get called out for it, and all these other videos where they're like screaming at their kids and like scaring them and doing these psychotic pranks on them, and then they claim, oh, it's all faked. How could you think it was real? Like, you're so gullible, guys. Like, we faked all of those pranks. All the kids were in on it. And it's like, first of all, even if the kids were in on
that's gross.
That's disgusting, and they don't know the gravity of what they're doing.
Right.
And it's a gross that's even a thing that could be an out.
Right.
Like considered an out.
But if it's real, I'm calling CPS because you're psychotic and abusive. So there's no way that you can get out of that not looking like a monster.
Right. Well, I mean, remember we had the discussion about the girl with autism who got the contract with Victoria's Secret?
I think she had Down syndrome.
And we're like, how can that person even really consent?
Well, I thought like I guess they're trying to like de-sexify Victoria's Secret, and they thought, why not hire a disabled model to do that? Which is like,
did you see that one show?
Weird
recently?
thought process in general.
Yeah.
Did you see that show recently? And it was all like body positive,
Yes.
or
Yes.
like you saw the one from like a couple weeks ago where it's like the really hot model, and then like the lady comes up behind her who has the limp because she's got, I think she only has one
like
leg.
An amputated
she's like
leg.
amputee, and that
she's
one,
also overweight.
But I just you just feel bad for her because she's being put right next to this really hot model. But then I saw one the other week on Twitter where it's just all.
I saw that too,
dude.
The catwalk.
You feel like you're there.
Someone has vitiligo. Someone has alopecia. Someone has an amputated leg. Someone's in a wheelchair. This other person's like gender ambiguous. Like there was literally nobody who looked like an actual professional model.
It looked like an over-exaggeration of exactly what's going on. To be taken as a joke.
It's scary and cruel to the people involved.
Right.
You're putting them out there for criticism.
Or roll.
Which, like you have to be of sound mind to choose to be in the arena where you're going to, even just having a social media page means you have to be opening yourself up to the ability of being criticized from whatever you post. I mean, assuming that you have your comments open and stuff like that. So to do that to kids who don't necessarily have that ability is disgusting.
Yeah, the Daddy 05 situation was like a really extreme example.
There's a reason why I keep my family stuff on Instagram pretty private. Like I have to do a light vetting before people follow me.
Yeah.
You know?
Just standard practice, and it's gonna have to be like more well known that you have to like shield kids from, you know, being objects of scrutiny and ridicule to millions of strangers. Like that's just and more than that, there's also like just weirdos and creeps on the internet that sexualize children as well. Like,
you're just giving them free content. It's disgusting.
It's a free for all, and you need to see it for what it is. You're never going to rein in the craziness.
So why put your kids in the line of fire?
So don't like throw them into it, you know? Yeah.
Guys, I'm just going to give people an update. As you can see, the guns are working. I am using them. It is being done manually. We are going full steam ahead. I will let people know when we're getting close to the first crisis party, and that's she'll be set off manually as well. Crisis parties will still happen if we do this today. I'm going to make it happen. I might like sound even more smooth-brained than I normally do because I'm going to be very distracted today. But I'm just giving people a heads up that all will work out no matter what happens.
Yeah,
we're doing this. That is. I didn't know that, like, I mean, I don't follow family channels, so it's like I didn't really know. I do follow a lot of like couples that do reaction channels. I love couples that do reaction channels. That's a guilty pleasure of mine. Yeah. There was this great like period of time where like husbands and wives would react to the Bill Burr skit about motherhood and or about women, about basically anything about women, and then you'd see which guys were the alpha males who didn't look to their wife for permission to laugh. like if they would just laughed, then they're not
Harry's of the room.
I've been seeing a lot of channels like that. There's this one where this really tall chick married to some really short dude, and she's constantly just
you found my other
him.
channel.
She's like, this is how to
I saw this
to stand in a picture if you've got a short king or whatever.
There was this other couple who, like, the guy is disabled.
Squirmy and Grubs. I was just about to say it. Yeah.
I didn't remember their names. He's like disabled and she's not. And literally all of their content is about how he's disabled and she's not. And it's like, just be normal. Like, just make normal content. If that's normal for you, why are you constantly talking about it?
There's the guy, the woman, the mother with dwarfism who has like a normal. They don't say normal, right? Do they say average size? They say average size.
Unabnormal.
Whatever.
So it's a woman with dwarfism and her son is average sized and they do content together. Yeah. Like she has a good sense of humor. Like she has a good sense of humor about it. Like
that one seems okay.
She's an adult. Like she's like. If anything, it would be that the kid is young. I mean, I don't know how old he is, but he looks like to be a teenager, or maybe he's in his early 20s or something like that. But you know, if you can laugh at yourself, I have no problem with that. Like one of my favorite channels is this guy who's blind and skateboards, and he starts all his videos with "I'm blind. This is how I." And then he talks about like the various
justified.
The very stuff that he does. It's like people don't realize that there's like an artful way to do content like that, and it just takes a certain amount of thought being put into it, and some people get too excited about the shot content and don't put the extra thought into it. So,
as for Madison Beer, though, now I'm feeling like almost certain that this is an astroturfed.
Think so?
Ad campaign, basically, for her memoir. Comes out April 25th, and I'm mentioning it because that's what she wants me to do, and I'm a good little consumerist slave.
Well, no, we're part of the marketing machine, technically.
And this is a memoir from singer-songwriter Madison Beer chronicling the past decade of her life spent in the spotlight, the ups, the downs, and in-betweens you won't see on social media.
I'm sorry, but I can't help but laugh whenever these people talk about the dark
side.
I'm like, your rough life of being like
the dark side of being literally hotter than Megan Fox.
Like being a hot 22-year-old in America must be tough, ladies and gentlemen. Holy shit.
She was wholly rejected by David Dobrik. So that must have been a blow to her ego for sure. It said, discovered at 12 years old, Madison Beer was one of the first artists to have her entire life documented online. Over the past decade, she has navigated the spotlight as a child, through her teenage years, and now as a young woman in her 20s.
It's got to be so rough to be a hot 22-year-old. So difficult. I can't fathom.
Worse than going to war.
In America, a hot 22-year-old woman. My heart breaks for you. It does.
My heart's like literally bleeding.
It does.
Right now.
It's bleeding right now. I can't imagine it. However, if the swattings were real, I do have.
If
sympathy.
they're real,
then I do have sympathy. Yes.
If they're real, genuinely sorry, but. I don't know. You can't really blame me for being skeptical.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.